The removal of the cargo from the unpressurized section of the HTV was a multi-step process. It started with the station's largest robotic arm, the Canadarm2, that first removed the exposed pallet from the HTV and then handed it off to the main Japanese robotic arm. The Japanese facility, Kibo, has two robotic arms, the main arm, which is the larger one, and a small fine arm, which is used for removing very small pieces of equipment. The main Japanese arm installed the exposed pallet on the porch of Kibo, that's the exposed facility, or external facility, and from there the station's robotic arm maneuvered Dexter into place to remove the cargo from the exposed pallet. The exposed pallet was carrying two pieces of cargo for NASA. One was a cargo transportation container, which brought up several smaller spare parts for the station, and it also had a flex hose rotary coupler. Both of those pieces of equipment were removed by the Dexter, special purpose Dexter's Manipulator, in its first official task. And then, with the exposed pallet empty, the Japanese main robotic arm was then able to pick the exposed pallet back up and hand it back off to the Canadarm2, so that it can then be reinstalled back inside the HTV, getting it ready for first its relocation, which, as I mentioned, is coming up on the February 18th, and then its eventual departure from the International Space Station after it's been completely unloaded and then filled back up with trash to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. This again is recorded video of the robotic transfer of the exposed pallet back to the HTV this morning. It officially arrived there at 8:23 a.m. Central Time and was locked back into place on the H2 transfer vehicle. Good view here of the exposed pallet in the grip of what looks to be the Japanese main arm as it makes its way towards the Canadarm2 for handoff, moving past some of the space station's massive solar arrays, which of course allow the station to generate electricity. This again is video recorded earlier this morning. The prong you see in the center of the exposed pallet here is what's going to be used by the Canadarm2 to grab onto the pallet and then maneuver it back to the H2 transfer vehicle. That again was a look at some recorded video from the day's earlier transfer of the HTV's exposed pallet from the Kibo porch on its way back to the HTV itself to be reinstalled. That was the first half of the journey, which used the Kibo robotic arm, the main Japanese arm. And then it handed it off to the Canadarm2. You can see here a view of both robotic arms attached to the exposed pallet itself. In the background, you can see the Canadarm2 attached now to the exposed pallet, and this view is coming from the Japanese robotic arm as it releases the pallet and moves away. Again, all this was recorded earlier this morning. This again is a view from earlier this morning from cameras on the Japanese main arm as it moves away from the exposed facility of the HTV. HTV launched at 11:37 p.m. Central Time on January 21st from the Tanegashima Space Center in southern Japan, and then docked to the station just before 9 a.m. Central Time on January 27th. Since then, the crew inside the station has been working to unload both the pressurized cargo from the inside of the station, and then using the robotic arms from the outside of the station, unload the unpressurized cargo. That work was done over the past few days, and now the empty pallet that carried that cargo up is being moved, or was moved this morning, back to the HT2 transfer vehicle. First with the Japanese main arm, which is again the view you're seeing here, and it then handed it off to the Canadarm2, which is the arm you see grappled to it in the background of this view. To compare the two, the Japanese main arm is about 32 feet long, while the Canadarm2 is about 58 feet long. In the top center of your screen now, in this recorded video, you can see the basically the hand of the Japanese main arm moving over the porch of Kibo, the external facility, back into its normal location. Kibo robotic arm can handle about 15,432 pounds of cargo. And that's, of course, mass, as there's no actual weight in zero gravity, compared to the Canadarm2's mass handling capacity of about 116,000 kilograms, which is 255,736 pounds. Good look here at the porch of Kibo, and you can also see Kibo in the background with its small airlock for transferring small pieces of equipment or experiments into and out of the Kibo laboratory, the main section of the Japanese facility on the space station. All this is again video recorded earlier this morning following the handoff of the HTV exposed pallet from the Japanese main arm to Canadarm2. Can just see to the right of the center screen where the arm is sticking down from the top, the camera of the robotic arm moving.
For your information, the camera status never came back on 03. And now the procedure tells me to execute message 639. When I go to that one...
It's not actually the same camera that Nespoli is working to calibrate right now. That one is on the Destiny Laboratory, but it's the same sort of camera that the Canadarm2 has on it.
And your understanding is correct, Follow, and we believe that you're complete with this activity. So thank you very much.
Very good. I hope I'm not going to call you again for camera calibration soon, but thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
This is Paul again, and this time not for camera calibration. This morning we called down a couple of SSCs with problems. Particular SSC 7 in Columbus is sitting there with a kind of a fatal error. I'd like to see if have any resolution or any suggestion on how we could solve that.
Stand by 1, and I'll read up to you something you can do.
That again was a look at the robotics activity that's been going on today. The HTV exposed pallet eventually arrived at the HTV again at